Coucou et puis salam alaikum, Marhaba habibetey. So, we are in for a chatty video today. If these kind of chatty videos are not your bag, that is totally cool. I will see you in the next sort of beauty related video. But I had a moment where I felt like I wanted to chat with you guys, and so let's chat. Basically, I want to talk to you guys about running and why I run and what running means to me. And I'm trying to figure out where to start. I think this all started like obviously when I started to run, so I can tell you how that all came about. But I always, when I ran, okay, let's backtrack. Let me start with telling you why I started to run. So in high school, I think I've told you about the whole, roller coaster of weight business. But by the ninth grade, I had lost a lot of that weight. So having been around 200 pounds for the longest time since I was like 12, by the ninth grade, I'd lost tons of that weight, and I was about 130, 140. And I felt, which was actually a good inclination, that I should find something athletic to do to help maintain the weight that I'd lost through dieting and healthy eating and all that kind of stuff. So on a whim, totally on a whim, and because one of my favorite teachers ran the club, haha, my pun there, I decided to join the running team. And I distinctly remember walking into that room that first day, and one of the girls that was there, who was really sweet and like a friend, and we're on good terms and all that kind of stuff, looks at me and goes, "Sarah, this is the meeting for the running club, right? Like this cross-country running." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, sorry." Like, she wasn't trying to be offensive, but she literally thought I was in the wrong space, because knowing anything about me, you would never have thought that I would be on the running team. The running team at my high school was a running team. Like, these guys were no joke. They qualified for regionals. Like, they were strong, hardcore runners. I was not. But in my 4 years on the team, never once was I made to feel less than. And in my senior year, as like we're all crying our eyes out, my coach hands me like an MVP award, and he's crying and I'm crying, and we're all just like bawling in a mess. And it's funny because I was talking to one of my friends who was on the team just recently, and I was telling her about, getting back into running, all that kind of stuff. She's like, "You were an inspiration to all of us." I was like, "What are you even talking about?" I was like, "You guys were all like," I was always, every single practice without fail, the last one. And like, not the last one by like a couple steps, like the last one by like a 5-minute stretch. And the coach would always like run up in the front, run with the guys in the front, and then come back and get me, and then go back and forth. And she's like, "No, like not only, we never thought we were allowed to give up or complain, because not only were you there day in and day out, despite being slower than the rest of us, but there were at least 2 years where I was fasting for Ramadan, and I couldn't just stop training for a month. So I would bring something with me in case I felt really sick and I needed to break my fast, but I never ended up using it. I would just keep running." And she was like, "You showed us how to go." I feel so weird because I feel like it's getting in braggy, and I'm totally not meaning it in a braggy way. I'm just trying to tell the story. So I'm getting like really awkward about it. Anyways, so it's funny because I always looked at them with such admiration for all the support and the camaraderie and the, good team spirit, and they kind of looked, and I didn't realize that it was kind of also working the other way around. So that's kind of how I got into running, and it became something where I could see my progress, where it was always a very supportive environment, where it was really cool. It wasn't like basketball or what else did I play? Field hockey or any of those other kind of sports where you were really measured against the best of the best, and it was a win-lose, and there, you know what I mean? And you could never feel like you could catch up. With running, it was setting your own targets and setting your own challenges and seeing you exceed your own bests, you know what I mean? So from the get-go, that's what I loved about running. And so I continued to run my first 2 years of college, and then I just kind of fell off the bandwagon. But yeah, I stopped running, and I don't know why. I got busy, all those excuses we make for ourselves, and I kind of stopped. And I feel like as corny and silly as it sounds, I feel like a lot of the spiraling and a lot of the the feelings of lost and overwhelmed and all those kinds of things that I had been feeling over the last couple of years stemmed because I kind of lost such an important piece of me that I didn't realize that I had lost until I got back into running. So if you take nothing away from this video, because I'm doing not at all a good job of explaining any of this, there is a book by one of my favorite authors. His name is Haruki Murakami. It's called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running. And I picked that book up about a year and a half ago again. I'd read it once, like when I was running, and I loved it, and it spoke to me, and it captured exactly what I love about long distance running so beautifully. He's a writer. He puts this so much better than I can. But I picked it up again about a year and a half ago, and it reminded me of what I do love and what I try to talk about when I talk about running. And it's this beautiful love story of what long distance running teaches you. So it's one of those things that's really hard. It's one of those things that's challenging. It's one of those, it's a very solitary activity. So in that time, it's you and your body and your mind, and you have to all be aligned for everything to go well. And if you're not aligned, or if you're holding on to things that aren't serving you, you're not going to get through, right? So you really have to, long distance running is a practice in letting go of the things that aren't serving you. It's an activity that helps make you mentally and physically strong, and it's just such a rewarding experience, honestly. So I definitely highly recommend that book. And I think even though I told you guys I picked up a year and a half ago, again, I kept finding excuses not to get out and run. Running is one of those things that, like, they make you do in elementary school, and you run laps and you hate it and you're scared of it. I was there too, you guys. Even after I'd been on the running team and I'd run 10K races, I was still scared to get back out there. And so it took my trip to the emergency room, it took all that gross, not fun medical stuff to be like, I'm done making excuses, I'm done putting this to the side, I'm gonna just do this. And I think what I rediscovered as I started to train for my first half marathon was that I am stronger than I've given myself credit for. And I, at so many points on that course, on that day when I ran my half, I was like ready to start crying. And not crying because I was in pain or tired or what have you, but crying because I was so emotional about finally being here, having said that I was going to do this thing for so long and finally being there and showing up to it. So I guess that's the first concrete thing I kind of want to tell you guys, is that even if running is not your thing, whatever your thing is, just show up, just do it, just take the plunge. Stop waiting for tomorrow, because you will surprise yourself and you will find this joy and this passion that will carry you through so many other things. The other thing that I have loved about running and rediscovering how much it means to me is that, because I'm not one of those people that is like a gazelle that just, like, you know, there are people that are the most gorgeous runners you've ever seen, and they make it effortless. That is not me. My mother laughs at me. The other day she saw me like coming to the end of a run, not at the race day, but one of the days, and she's like, I'm not going to be able to redo it. Like, she was like, you're like, I'm like, yeah, that's what I look like when I run. It's not something that comes easy to me. So I think the other thing that running teaches me is, because it's something that's so physically challenging, it teaches me that I'm stronger than I think I am. Because I finish, like, I will come to the end of an 8-mile or a 10-mile or a 13-mile practice run, and I'll have finished it, right? So will then not be able to lie to myself. Like, look, you did it. You are strong. And that kind of life lesson carries me through all different kinds of things I do in life, right? The other thing, because it's so physically challenging, I have to let go. I'm the kind of person that kind of will hold on to emotional things, especially, and just spiral on them for a long time. And that's something that I definitely actively want to work on. But when I'm running, I am so tired that I want to be alone with my head and just let myself spiral. But eventually your body's like, look, you can keep spiraling on this, or you can let it go and keep running. You can't do both. And so it forces you to let go of stuff that isn't helping you, that's just holding you down. And in that way, you know how people talk about yoga? That's what running does for me. It just lets me let go and just go. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's that. It's just, it's one of those things that is beautiful and is amazing. And I don't know. And I'm not trying to preach to everyone to get out and run. Try it, give it a shot, right? But find the thing that gives you that kind of inner strength, that mental strength, that physical strength. Find that thing and just go for it. And tangentially, find the things that you want to do in life and go for them. There's my bucket list of things that I want to do, and after having crossed off run a half marathon, and I've got another one coming up in 6 months, so I'm going to start training for that one soon. But I feel like I want to cross more things off my bucket list. So go out there and be bold and live brave and enjoy it. I think the last thing I did want to tell you guys about running though, and I'll kind of talk a little bit more about my race. So I ran last Sunday and I finished it in a personal record time of 2 hours and 52 minutes, which is only a couple minutes shorter than I've ever run before, but a couple minutes shorter is still amazing. And by the end of it, there was just, I didn't think I was going to be able to run the whole way through, and I did. And the last mile was one of the most challenging miles I've ever run. But as soon as I saw that finish line, I was like, my mom has a picture of my face, and I look like a kid, like a little young kid on Christmas morning with just like that. If you like look up ecstasy in the like Oxford Dictionary, that's the face. Like I'm just like so stupidly happy. Because that was the feeling that I had at the end of it, you know? But this is the other thing that I did want to say, because a lot of you go, you make it look so easy. It is not easy. The whole 13 miles were hard. I was ready. I felt ready for them. You know what I mean? Like I was prepared. I was trained. I felt like my body was strong enough to carry me. But I was tired the whole way through. And there were 3 or 4 points where I was ready to give up. But I think when I say I'm ready, that's the being ready was the part that didn't quit. Do you know what I mean? So the other thing that I'm trying to say is that sometimes you will see Instagram posts or tweets or whatever from anyone doing anything that you're engaged in which they're having a moment to celebrate being finished with a training session or being finished with a race or whatever. And we have to be happy and excited in those moments, because we are, right? But that doesn't mean that the training that led up to it or the experience that led up to it was all you know, roses and candy and rainbows. So, yeah, I was trying to get out a really beautiful, eloquent, just like love letter to running. And I feel like what I've come up with is very messy, but very raw and very true. And I think instead of refilming this, I'm going to let it be this, which is just genuine and honest and from the heart. And, the takeaway being just live boldly, chase your dreams. You are stronger than you think you are. And share your stories with us down below. I've been rambling for like almost 15 minutes now, so I'm going to stop. Yeah, I'm going to stop and do some points of positivity. Thank you if you've made it to the end. I really, really do appreciate it. Let's do some points of positivity. My first is getting back into running and like this energy that it has brought me that makes me really happy. I feel like the best version of myself when I run, because everything just, I don't know, I just do. Everything else kind of falls into place. So yeah, that's my first point of positivity. My second is having this outlet to share this with you guys. So thank you for letting me gush. And then my third point of positivity is like a preemptive point of positivity. I'm excited to read all of your comments, because that's honestly my favorite part of these videos, is to read your comments and talk with you guys. So that is it for me today. I will see you guys tomorrow. But before I leave you, as always, let me remind you that life is just way too short, you guys, to wear boring lipstick. Bye, guys.